What is up, guys? My name is SpaceX's Life, and I'd like to welcome you to the second episode of our new park series, Universal Studios: The Lost Worlds. So, on our last episode, we started working on the gift shop, the Universal Store, and at the start of this video, we kind of finish up that. The last little details, I had to do the flooring and a little bit of extra work just doing side detailing. So I did a little bit of a different editing style with this video. This is probably about 6 or 7 hours worth of footage all compiled into one video. So I did a lot of jump cutting around and only showing you guys the more important bits. I'd like to just let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. If you'd rather see the full time lapse, see all the footage, and I spread it out into more videos, or you like seeing so much progress get done in one video, because we get done probably 4 different buildings, plus I work on the overhang and pretty much get that finished for Main Street. I love how the overhang turned out. So now we started work here on Carlo's DriveIn, and this is my 50s, 60 diner. That was what I was originally going for, but it ended up more like 80s retro diner, which I really like that in the end, so we'll probably just go for that in the end. And I think that's more of honoring, because I want to honor the 80s and 90s films too. So I knew I couldn't remake Mel's Drive-In just because it's a little bit too complicated of a building for me right now, probably. It would be too hard to pull off a recreation. I wanted to be original. So we added some windows here for all the guests to be able to see out into the park. With most diners, there's a lot of windows, letting a lot of natural light in during the day. I really liked how this turned out. We put a jukebox in there that we got from the workshop, really cool jukebox, and I got those arcade machines from the good old arcade machine guy. Everybody knows who that is. He posts a lot. And then I added some cool drink kiosk stuff I also got from the workshop, and some kitchen appliances to fill out the back. Everything else I made myself. And this was kind of my first foray into working on a restaurant in Planet Coaster 2. I haven't really messed with the restaurant system yet until now. And I really enjoy the features. I wish there was a little bit more you could add to the menu. I feel like the menu's a little bit limited. Because I wanted to make this like a diner breakfast type restaurant, but there's only like 4 options on the menu. You can't really change them. It's not as customizable as the gift shops, for example. So I added some cool supporting pillars here in the front, and then we're gonna go back around and we add some extra details. I come through with a few different passes on this. With Main Street, I had an idea of, since I'm making it all covered, I wanted to make it like a haven where everybody could go back to and stay safe from the elements if it's a really hot day out, or simply if it's just pouring rain. So I put a little air conditioner system here. The footage gets cut because I started typing and I used one of my hotkeys to switch scenes, so we lost a little bit of footage there. But now we come out and do neon lining for the outside of the building. I want to give that cool neon eye-popping look. This is right near the entrance too, and it'll really attract your attention. We start putting the name sign on. I wanted to do like neon text on the inside of the letters, and you can kind of see me experiment with that here, but of course I don't do it because it looks janky. Here we go. I go experimenting with it right now. Yeah, it looks just too scuffed, so I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. So we start working on the outside front area. In the future, I want to come back around and maybe put some drive-in stalls, have some old cars here, maybe some old muscle cars. Like I say, go with the 80s, maybe 90s vibe. But probably 80s vibe, go for full-on 80s. And I think that would be really cool. Make it full on like drive-in, because right now it's like a diner, not really necessarily a drive-in, but I wanted it like a diner drive-in combo. But we come back, or I'm gonna come back around to that at some point in the future. I kind of leave it as is, how we have it right now. We're about to get started on work for the next building now. First, I get some underground pathing, because how I have this park worked out is all of my staff path is ran under the park, and it all goes out to the parking garage area where I have my backstage, the power, all that kind of stuff. I have a solar grid over there, and it's all hidden by the trees. So all of my staff is going to work their way through these tunnels, and these tunnels is basically similar to Disney World, or some Universal parks even do it, where you can actually walk around, like all the staff stays out of sight by doing that. So going next, we're working on a new bathroom stall building across from the other bathroom stalls. I wanted to have bathrooms on each side of the main street. So we put a second building here, and I wanted it to be a nice original building. I like how this one turns out. I started experimenting with like a custom trim, and then we made this kind of in like a almost Moroccan style, or maybe think like the Egyptian style, something like that. It really reminds me of something, that theme. I kind of wanted to vary the themes on Main Street to give like that variation. I didn't want it to all be the same type of like Art Deco buildings or something. So there is a lot of variation. So you can see me here experimenting and making my own custom trim. I watch Mary's Revenge a lot with his Magic Kingdom recreation build, and I love the way he does the custom trims, makes it out of the art shapes and stuff, and I thought I'd experiment around, and I made some little designs. They're just like little simple designs, but I like how they turned out. And I started doing this for a lot of the other buildings on Main Street too. This does raise the piece count, but using the art shapes, they're far less vertex pieces. So in the end, you kind of save on performance, because they're just not as taxing if you use like a more detailed piece. So we get some pretty good work here. I start lining the trim on all of the building here, kind of getting it all situated out. And I believe I changed the coloration. I make the coloration a little bit darker. I wasn't happy with how bright the yellows were and such. So what I was thinking about doing is we're going to line the main street with probably 2 or 3 more buildings. I wanted to go all the way to the end of where the overhang ends, and then we're just gonna hide the backs of the buildings by likely some kind of rock wall on the other sides, along with vines and trees. But I wanted to give you that immersed jungle vibe when you're outside of Main Street. You'll still see the overhang, but I actually like the overhang. I want it kind of visible no matter where you are. It doesn't really matter. I actually really like how it turned out. So we're putting some extra final details here on our Moroccan style building, or whatever kind of style I wanted to go for, but I really like how it turned out. I was just kind of freeform building with a lot of these. Actually, all these buildings are just freeform build. I didn't really look at reference photos or anything. I just looked at architecture, kind of thinking back in my memory of things that looked good, just overall. Just kind of mix some different vibes together to make a sensical kind of theme going on. But I really like how this specific building that we're working on now turns out. This is the very Art Deco type building. I add some cool 3D trim on this, and I think that it really makes the building pop. We have these huge windows that go vaulting all the way up to the top. I feel like this specific building really pulled off that Art Deco vibe that I was going for. And I wanted to go with different types of vibes with each building. Like I alternate what kind of style I go for on each side. But I wanted it to all look good together still. I don't want it to look very forced together kind of thing. And overall, I believe that we've achieved that so far with Main Street. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on what you guys think should change, or what could elevate these builds to really bring them up and beyond where they're at right now. Leave a little comment on what you think. I'm always open to constructive criticism. I think it really helps you become a better builder. So even if it's a little bit of a negative thing, something that you feel like doesn't look right or should change, I'm okay. I'm open to it. So let me know in the comments. And if you're enjoying the comment or enjoying the content, leave a like and sub if you really want to see more of this series. Let the YouTube algorithm know that my content is something that is worth watching. And I am a new creator also, so it would help me out a lot too. Because right now, at the moment, even if I go into Planet Coaster 2 looking it up, recent videos and stuff, I don't think my videos really even show up much. I don't think it's suggesting on the algorithm right. Maybe I don't have my videos tagged right, but I'm not sure. Just let me know if there's anything I should change though, guys. So we start working on a little bit of that night lighting. We pretty much finished up that building and I think it turned out wonderful. And I just do a little bit of path adjustment. I'm pretty satisfied with how everything looks. So I start doing some terrain work, and this is when we're about to begin doing the overhang. So I make a little bit of what I think our lagoon shape is going to be. I get all that terrain work worked out. And I have this color palette over here. You might have saw that there for a second. And it's a theme park color palette. Really cool from the workshop. And it has like the go away greens and some other cool colors that will really help you make those realistic color palettes for the theme park. And I use a lot of those for my colors on Main Street. So we're starting to work on the framework here for the glass overhang. And I didn't really know where I was going with it at first. I ended up changing all of these support structure pieces. I didn't like them. Everything juts out too much and it's way too noticeable. So I switch it to a way nicer support structure, which you guys saw that in the intro. That's the finished product. You don't actually even get to see this fully get finished in this video because it took over 5 hours to make this, and I made part of it. I finished it on stream. I actually stream on Twitch also. That's like my main platform where I make content. So SpaceX's Life also is what to look up on Twitch, same name. And I pretty much built this whole park from scratch on stream. If it isn't in this time-lapse content, I made it on stream. Because I can't record and stream at the same time. It's just not possible for me. My computer hates it and it starts lagging really bad. Everything is not really usable. So what we're doing right now is taking the glass triangles and I painstakingly put them all together. I'm doing this all on a rotational platform in mirroring, so at least I only have to do one side. It would probably take me over 10 hours to do this if I wasn't, because it took me upwards of 5 hours to do it with the mirroring. So it's a very painstaking process. I'm a little bit OCD and a perfectionist, so doing something like this is, well, you want to bash your head against a wall. It's rough. But I really enjoyed how it turned out in the end, and I felt like it was worth it. The pain was worth it in the end, because this is possibly the coolest. I think it's Some people would think it's an eyesore for Main Street, but I see it more of a giant modern art kind of crowning achievement for Main Street. It's a big, magnificent structure, and it is covering you from the elements. It's causing some kind of help, but it's also very cool because we're gonna have the neon lights on it. Gives you the light shows, and maybe I'll put a synchronized light show to music at some point on it. Have some kind of really cool aspect where people on Main Street can see something really wicked if they look up, and just have more reason for the overhang to exist or utilize its existence more. And I think that would be a really good idea. But right now we are getting a little bit more of the detail work done for, like, I with the goal on these glass overhang pieces, I wanted to alternate the directions and the angles because I wanted to make that wave shape that you're kind of seeing get made. I always made that purposely. It did kind of make things a little bit more complex, but I think it's a lot more of an eye-popping style when I have that wave kind of look to the glass. So one thing I want to loop around to is a little shout out real quick. I do watch a lot of other creators, and every video I want to showcase some of my favorites and people I really think you should check out. And this week I want to shout out Loudleaf Gaming. I watch him on Twitch a lot. He streams Planet Coaster 2 all the time, and he also has a YouTube channel it's worth checking out. He's a small creator just like me, and he's fairly unknown. So really, if you want some more great Planet Coaster content, you should check out Loudleaf Gaming. One other person I really want to shout out is Tinky Cat. She streams on Twitch also. I don't know if she streams or has videos on YouTube, but I just know she streams, and I check out her streams quite often, and a lot of my ideas end up popping up in my head while I'm just chilling out in her streams. I have these Jimmy Neutron brain blasts. I don't know why it happens in her streams, but I guess it's just a chill environment, and I can always brainstorm. So she's really worth checking out too if you want to see another cool builder on this game and you want more content. But I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about the dark ride I have planned next for this park. I talked a little bit near the end of the first episode about our dark ride, but I have some big plans for this. So that big island we have in the middle of the lagoon, the giant hole, I'm gonna have a huge Aztec or Mayan themed temple there on that middle island, and it's going to be overgrown with vines. We have waterfalls, all kinds of really cool stuff. And you're gonna go down the main pathway in the middle, and it's gonna be a ramp going into the temple, like a downwards ramp. And you go into the loading station. This dark ride would be an Omnimover trackless ride, and you would go into this main chamber that would have a large portal, and the ride would be something like Portal to Worlds or something like that, along the lines of that. It's kind of taking a little bit of that inspiration of the Epic Universe portals, taking you to different places, like kind of like the commercials. So this dark ride, you go through the portal in this room, this main chamber, after the dark ride starts, and then after you go through this portal, it would take you to this jungle. You'd be in like Jurassic Park. You'd be in a jungle. You'd probably see some of the fencing on the sides, or like one side, and you'd maybe see like a pterodon fly over top, and you would keep going through, and you'd maybe have a raptor attack, or my Rex would jump out at you and start chasing you. And at that point, we would probably have like a sequence where you'd be running away from the T-Rex. You go into a cave. He can't follow you into the cave. He can't fit his head through. Can't fit his body in. But what I was thinking is just like we could go into the next scene from there. And in this next scene, you would go into King Kong, and it would be King Kong Reign of Kong. You'd go through a cave sequence, and then you'd come out, and you'd see on the walls, on the lining, there would be skull crawlers and things like that. But you would also get some like a silhouette of King Kong. You'd end up seeing that near the end of the area, and I think that would be really, really cool. So moving into the next area, we would probably go into an ancient tomb, and this would lead to the mummy area. And this mummy area would have the scarabs maybe crawling on the walls. We'd just do like hundreds of the art shapes on an animatronic kind of scurrying on the walls. And we could have Imhotep pop out at you, have some kind of set piece with that. I haven't really thought about what I can do with the mummy yet. I haven't thought too deeply on that, but I thought that would be really cool to incorporate like a mummy scene. After that, you would go into another portal, and this portal would take you to E.T.'s homeworld, and you would see kind of like similar to the Universal Studios dark ride, how you see his home planet, and it would be like that. I planned on making a kids area in the park that is going to basically be an indoor ET homeworld, kind of might be like water park / kids park, and I think that would be really cool. I feel like water park would be the easiest thing to do for like a kids park, because there's not really very many kids flat rides in the game. So you can see I do a little pause here. I think that's like the only little pause in the video for my building. But with after the ET situation, I wanted to possibly find a way to go through like another portal that would take you into Terminator. It would be Judgment Day kind of thing, where maybe in the far-flung future where everything is Skynet's already taken over, it's just rubble and built like nothing but like the destruction everywhere, and we have maybe the tank tread type Terminator units, whatever those things are called, rolling around, and then we have one of the T-1000s come up over a hill, and he like aims at you and he tries to start shooting you and stuff. You have to dodge out of the way, and there's a whole set piece with that. And after you go through the whole Terminator bit, there'd be another portal that would pop up in front of you that would suck you back to the main dark ride area, the loading station area, and that would be like their way of saving you and bringing you back. And it would be, the entire dark ride is like a tour of all the different lands that will be in the park. So that kind of tells you, me announcing all the different lands. We're gonna have Jurassic Park / Jurassic World, mainly probably Jurassic Park mainly, instead of Jurassic World. I don't really want to mess with Jurassic World too much. I prefer the Jurassic Park series. But we're gonna go that, and then King Kong. We're gonna have the ET homeworld type area. We're gonna have a mummy area, and then we're gonna have a Terminator area. So that's kind of the current themed lands roadmap, the plan. That's where I'm at anyway. But I thought I'd talk a little bit more about that dark ride, so you guys can know what's coming up soon. The next episode, episode 3, will likely be dedicated entirely to working on that dark ride. I've already started doing some early work on it, but I am about to go into full gear and start actually working on that pretty heavily. I want to get some kind of ride in the park so I can at least do a preview opening this for guests and see how they flow and stuff through the park, do a little test opening. I think that would be nice before we actually start working on our first land of the park, which will be probably in episode 4. where we'll actually fully start creating the true theme park. Because right now it's just Main Street work, and then we're gonna segue into that dark ride work for episode 2 or episode 3, excuse me. We're in episode 2 right now. Still getting used to this whole YouTube thing. Since I've streamed on Twitch for so many years, I'm just used to making content in that format. But I hope you guys enjoy the time-lapse format, how I've done it, kind of jumping around all over the place, because in reality this video would be able to be spread out into like 3 episodes if I made it in the same time-lapse format as the first episode, because the first episode was a lot more raw, just you're seeing all the footage. I jumped around way more in this version, like in this second episode, and I feel like it led to a lot better flow of the video. So let me know your guys' thoughts. I really would like to know what you think, if you like this time-lapse way, or you would prefer seeing all of the process from the very beginning to end. Voice is going out on me a little bit, sorry. But we start working here on the roof, which is made of little bubble bits. I don't know if you've ever been to some kind of shopping plaza or just any kind of entertainment place, and you might have seen like this type of roof. It's like an insulated, maybe like inflatable bubble roof. I don't know. I wanted to make it like a light material that could go well with our extremely heavy glass panels, because I wanted to make this structurally sound. There's a lot of supporting pillars in different spots to try to make this make sense, and you kind of saw that in the intro video, the completed product here. I don't fully finish this overhang in this time lapse just because I did part of it on stream. I finished it all up on my Twitch stream, which is the same name as my YouTube channel. But I also made this overhang with the same method as I make my dinosaurs. It's literally the whatever spheroid things. So I really like how this turned out overall, though. I'm really a fan of the end result, and I think this is the perfect crown for Main Street. There's still a couple more buildings I need to make for Main Street, but overall I think this really elevates it and takes it to the next level. So we're kind of wrapping up near the end here, guys. We don't got too much more footage, probably a little bit less than a minute. So I really appreciate you guys hanging out. If you stayed all the way to the end of the video, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. And if you're like me, most of the time you just throw on these content creators on just to let them kind of just talk to you in the background as you build your own stuff. And sometimes it gives you inspiration, sometimes you just like the chatter. We're just some noise for you sometimes, I get it. And I hope you've been entertained by my noise. But no, I really do appreciate you guys. I'm glad you guys have been tuning in. I have noticed that about half the viewers that have been checking out the first episode stayed around to at least halfway through the video. So, hey, appreciate that. It's like a 36-minute long video. So even if you stayed around for half of it, it means a lot. But I'll be around with episode 3 very, very soon. Until next time, hope you guys enjoyed. Bye, everyone.